This is Dr. Herbert Harris, and this is Success Mentorship Class number 232. Wow. Let's see, people are joining us on Instagram. People are joining us on Facebook. We'll give them a chance to do that. And as we talk about our topic today is how to overcome obstacles. And as you know, all of our topics are based on our book, The 12 Universal Laws of Success. And all of you who don't have one, it's available on Amazon. It's available on our website, herbertharris.com, and pretty much every digital site on the planet. This topic today, how to overcome obstacles, really fits in with the series of things that we've been dealing with. We talked about updating our goals. We talked about the power of desire. And last week, we talked about what's stopping you. And so obstacles are a very natural part of the growth process. And so today we're going to talk about how to overcome obstacles, how to create the mindset to make obstacles work for you. Before we get started, let us do our meditation. Just sit erect in our seats with our back straight. Close your outer eyes. Open your inner eyes. Take a deep breath. Hold it. Let it out slowly. Take a deep breath. Hold it. Let it out slowly. And in this state of peace and relaxation, we are at peace with ourselves. I am at peace with myself. Let us affirm that together. I am at peace with myself. Once more, I am at peace with myself. Just let that peace sink in. Take a deep breath. Let it out slowly. And in this state of peace and relaxation, my mind is open, receptive, and ready to learn. Let us affirm that together. My mind is open, receptive, and ready to learn. Once more. My mind is open, receptive, and ready to learn. Take a deep breath. Let it out slowly. All right. What a great day for living, sharing, and being alive. And today's topic, let's see, we have some other people who are joining us on Zoom. Today's topic is one that has always fascinated me because obstacles are such a necessary part of life.
Here's what I found on the web.
Our quote for today is from from Frederick Douglass, and it says, without struggle, there's no growth. Without struggle, there's no growth. And so what this is really saying is that obstacles are a necessary part of growth. As a matter of fact, obstacles facilitate our growth. So let's look, I love to look at definitions, and the definition of an obstacle is anything that blocks one's way or prevents or hinders progress. Anything that blocks one's way or prevents or hinders progress. And so as we begin to close out this last portion of the year, obstacles will appear. Things will appear that will really try to block us, will keep us from going where we want to go. And I like to use an analogy as we go through this lesson today, the biblical story of David and Goliath. And look at David. We're David. We're David. We're a person who's standing on the field of possibilities and confronting an obstacle, a giant, a warrior who wants to kill me, who wants to enslave my people. And so if we look at this analogy, as we move through this year to close out strong, there will be obstacles. There will be Goliath standing in our way to block us from our growth and from achieving our possibilities. And so when we look at this concept, the Goliath may be lack of money. Right now, after this pandemic, there are a lot of people that have some financial challenges. So Goliath may be lack of money. It may be a bad relationship. We may be in, some people are in such a terrible relationship. I mean, negative, destructive, violent. That relationship may be your Goliath. You may be on a job that you hate every moment of. That job can be your Goliath. And so using this analogy, let us look at how to overcome obstacles. Now, the first key to remember is this. There are two aspects to every obstacle. There's the external aspect, the Goliath, whatever that situation is that you want to overcome. And then there's the internal aspect, you, your own fears, your own prejudices, your own insecurities. And the interesting thing about life is that you must conquer the self before you can deal with the Goliath. Woo! That takes it to a whole nother level, doesn't it? In other words, whenever Goliath faces you in life, you have to deal with yourself. Look at David. When he was confronted with Goliath, he didn't run to take a quick course in giant killing. He looked at what he had. He looked at, the symbol of stones. It said that David looked around and he picked up some stones. And the stones are symbolic of what you know for sure. I used to love it on Oprah's program. She'd ask you, what do you know for sure? And these are the things, rock solid knowledge, the things you believe to be true. And so as we confront our Goliaths, what do we know for sure is that internal thing, that belief, that confidence. And then the other thing that Goliath did, he had a slingshot. He had a skill. And so as we face the Goliaths of our life, we have to know what we know for sure, our knowledge, our understanding, and we have to have a skill set. That's something that we developed over the years. And that's why Frederick Douglass says that without struggle, there's no growth. As you confront these different obstacles, you grow through them. As a matter of fact, a good way to look at every obstacle is to ask yourself, what is the growth lesson I will experience from confronting and overcoming this obstacle? As a matter of fact, when we go to page 142 and 143 of the text, we talk about how to overcome obstacles. And one of the key phrases there is, don't let the appearance of an obstacle create an atmosphere of failure. I'll read that again. Don't let the appearance of an obstacle create an atmosphere of failure. When David saw Goliath, and Goliath was the champion of the Philistines, was the champion of the people who wanted to conquer David's family, David's people. And so it would be very easy when we look at the spiritual implication of that. It is very easy to look at an obstacle and say, wow, I can't do this. I will surely die. We have to reframe our mindset. See, everything we do is really a result of our mindset. The first law of success says, as a mind thinketh in its heart, so is it. And so we have to redo our mindset when we look at an obstacle. So when an obstacle appears, don't see it as an impediment to your progress, but see it as a challenge to your resources. See it as an opportunity for growth. You literally convert stumbling blocks to stepping stones when you create that mindset about obstacles. You know, as a boxer, I'm friends with Bone Crusher Smith. And one of the things about Bone Crusher is that whenever he was faced with a serious obstacle, a fight, his goal was to figure out, how can I win? It did not matter the odds. You know, when he won the heavyweight championship, he actually had to get ready on 7 days' notice. So did he have a chance to go to his training camp? You know, Muhammad Ali used to spend 4 to 6 weeks in the training camp before a fight, getting ready, getting himself in shape, getting his endurance up. Bone Crusher only had 7 days, so there's not much you can do in a training camp in 7 days. But he had to develop a mindset of victory. You know what he did? He said, well, look, I better knock him out in the first round. My endurance is not up, okay, but I have certain skills. I have they called him Bone Crusher. They said he had a punch that was so hard it would crush your bones. And so Bone Crusher, being the David at that moment, said, my strategy is to take him out in the first round, to knock him out with everything I have. And so he did. And so the idea is to convert this idea of obstacles into challenges. What must I do to be victorious? What must I do to win? Look at that. Every obstacle is either just a situation that must be dealt with, or an opportunity to be taken advantage of. I think I'd like to look at obstacles as opportunities for growth. Now, you know, sometimes we get hit with some of those serious challenges, some of those serious things, and it's hard to see it, maybe hard to see it as an opportunity for growth, but that's a part of the reprogramming of your mind. So to see every opportunity, every obstacle as an opportunity for growth. Remove words like impossible from your vocabulary. Eliminate, as a matter of fact, eliminate obstacle, eliminate problem, and just use the word opportunity. So whether it's negative, I mean, there are positive opportunities and there are negative opportunities. Whatever it is, to look at it as an opportunity for growth. You'll either learn what to do or learn what not to do. So once we really see it from this perspective, then we deal first with the internal obstacle, looking at it as an internal opportunity for growth. What are the things that are stopping us from dealing with the Goliath? It may be fear. Fear of failure because we failed so many times before. Fear of doubt because we're not sure about ourselves. Insecurity. It may even be lack of faith. If every obstacle is there for a purpose, and that's a mindset to think about, that whenever you encounter an obstacle in your life, look at it as an opportunity and look at it as though it was there for a purpose. The Creator put it there to give you an opportunity to grow through it. The Creator, being all-knowing for all time, knows that you're going to need fortitude as you move to the next levels of your life. Knows that you're going to need persistence. Knows that you're going to need confidence. And so every opportunity, every obstacle seen as an opportunity now can say, hey, this is an opportunity for growth. And so to deal with that inside part, when David was confronted with Goliath, think about this, as the story goes, nobody was lining up to fight Goliath. He didn't have to run to the front of the line. Even the king said, look, you know, the appearance was that David was not a warrior, so how could he have a chance against Goliath? The king even said, well, look, let me give you my armor. Here, put it on. But you see, when you face the opportunities in your life for growth, you can't take somebody else's armor to facilitate your growth. That's a deep lesson, folks. So David had to set aside the king's armor and say, look, let me go with what I know. Let me go with my skill set. Let me go with my knowledge and my understanding. And so it is this mindset, this internal mindset that we have to develop before we can handle the external, the challenge that's confronting us. So with that mindset now, let's look at, we like to think of this as a 9-point formula to help you handle situations. Say, we won't even say obstacle, to help you handle situations. When situations appear that stand between you and your goals, that stand between you and your purpose, how do you handle it? One of the interesting things about that internal approach to it is when you don't have faith in yourself, it manifests as doubt and all these insecurity and all these other things. But there's a bigger sense of faith that when opportunities, when situations present themselves that encourage your growth, it may be that the faith in yourself goes beyond your faith in your own ability, but it's faith in the destiny for which you were created. With the mindset, the Creator did not create me to fail. God does not create anything to fail. There's no purpose in failing. And so whatever situation you're experiencing right now is for the purpose of your growth and for the purpose of helping you get better at whatever you do. And so with this mindset, then success, for example, is a process, a process of continuous growth facilitated by struggle and challenge. So let's look at this. I call it this 9-point formula, this approach to handling any situation that occurs that's stopping you from being, doing, and having whatever you desire. Number one, to write it down. You know, our approach to all success is spiritual principle. Write it down. Whatever the situation is that you're confronted with, write it down. When you can write a concise statement of the situation, especially what it is and what it is not, simply writing it often gives you more clarity. You see, we penetrate our consciousness and facilitate our own growth by seeking. You see, seeking, knocking, and asking is the process for growth. You have to want it. You have to want to do it. And so when you write it down, that automatically there's assumption that you want to resolve the situation. Once you clearly define it, this is the obstacle. This is the challenge that I'm confronting. You've created a vibration now to bring about a solution. When we go to the Habakkuk, it says, write the vision, make it plain, that they may run that readeth it. That's a plan. So the moment you write down the obstacle, whatever that thing is that's confronting you, that situation that's blocking you, you have literally created the vibration to facilitate the solution. So suppose your situation is not enough money. I know many of us right now have that situation, maybe experiencing that situation where you have more month at the end of the money. Suppose that's the situation. Well, write it down. I don't have enough money. What does that mean? I can't do this. My rent is not paid. Like this. Well, once you write that situation down in all aspects of whatever the Goliath is that's confronting you, you literally start the process for overcoming. Second, analyze the situation. Now let's look at David again. David analyzed the situation. He said, okay, his mindset. Goliath is a big giant. Okay. And what are my skill sets? I have a slingshot. I'm very good at it. I've been shooting, throwing rocks and hitting things for a long time. I have rocks, I have stones, I have beliefs that I feel will help me confront this giant. I also have a mindset to think about it. As big as he is, how can I miss? Think about that now. David's there with his slingshot and he's got his stones. And you might say, well, that's a big guy. Well, great. The bigger he is, the bigger the target. when you analyze the situation from all possible aspects, pay particular attention to those things that can be resolved right away. So David says, looked around, I got 5 stones, pick them up. Looked around, personal assessment, I have a skill set. I'm good with the slingshot. Looked around, Goliath as big as he is, I can't miss. So when you look at yourself, not enough money. Once you write it down, well, how can I handle this? Well, I do have some savings. I do have a job. So I do have a source of income. It's just not enough. What are some of the things I can do to handle this? Well, let me look at my budget. If I don't have enough money, that means I've been spending unwisely, combination, and I'm not making enough. So let me look at my budget now and see how I can cut expenses. What I can do to create more income. So when you analyze the situation, you literally take the scariness out of it. Step 3, list all alternative solutions. And folks, I'm a great believer in write it down. I believe that there's an eye-hand coordination, a vibrational relationship between your mind and your hand. I don't know if that extends to the computer and to the phones. The jury's still out on that. I know that the eye-hand coordination has been working well for the last few thousand years, and the phone has just come on the scene. So it may be just a mistake that you still need to write it down. But once you list all of the alternative solutions, you're programming your mind now. You're seeking solutions. Once you write it, you're literally understanding it. So if Goliath looked at all his possible solutions, he said, well, number 1, I could run. Okay. And I could David said, I could run and I can let Goliath enslave my people. Not a good possibility. Okay? You can look at your finances and say it's hopeless. I may as well take this last $1,000 I have and go out and try. I'll go to Vegas. Maybe I'll get lucky. When you list all alternative solutions, it starts your mindset now working. You can discard this, you can discard that. So with your own finances, when you list the possible solutions, you say, okay, you know what? I need to cut out the eating out. Instead of going down and buying new clothes, I need to go to the Goodwill. I need to go to the Salvation Army. You'll find a lot of rich people at the Goodwill. They take their stuff there to leave it. So you'll find some good stuff there. But once you start to list all of those alternative solutions, it now gives you insight on how to move. As David looked around, he said, I got my stones, I got my slingshot. He's a big target. Let me just now position myself to take him out. I also know that he has all this armor, and I know there's one spot that if I can hit him with that rock, I can get him. You know, many of us who have financial challenges right now, more people are going into business than ever before. Because what they're learning after this pandemic is many people have been working for much less than their worth. When they say there's nobody to work, there are a lot of people that have said, you know what, I'm not going to let the system continue to take advantage of me. I'm not going to let the system put me in a situation where I have to work 3 jobs just to make a daily living. So many people now are looking toward entrepreneurship. I need to increase my income. I need to magnify and multiply my work hours. Instead of me working 1 hour, 10 hours a day, let me see if I can get 10 people to work 1 hour a day on my behalf, helping themselves and myself. Number 4, evaluate all the possible situations, all the possible solutions. And once you start this evaluation process, you can see who does it help and who does it hurt. If David decided that this Goliath thing is not for me, I'm going to go back to my sheep, then one of the consequences was that his people would be enslaved. If you decide to blow your last $1,000 going to Las Vegas, then one of the consequences may be that your lights are off, that you can't even call home to tell them that you lost the money because your phone is off. You know, many times people right now, the real estate market is so hot, and people are always trying to buy a house. But when you start looking at your financial situation, it may be that you just have a cash flow problem. Excuse me. Did you just have a cash flow problem? You have assets. It's just the money is, your assets are frozen up in your house. So it's not about selling the house. It's like, let's get a mortgage. Eliminate that cash flow problem, because now you can pull yourself out of this challenge that's confronting you. Number 5, determine if your solution, and solution means choice. We are where we are, and the experience we have of life is based on the choices we make and the actions we take. So determine if your solution to this challenge is a selfish one. So if David looked at Goliath and said, you know what, this is a losing hand, I'm going to run back to the hills and tend my sheep. That was a selfish solution, because the outcome now meant that his people would be enslaved. Whenever a solution only helps you and hurts other people, that means you need to make a change. And see, this is an interesting portion about this whole idea. Choices, when you're confronted with obstacles, when you're confronted with situations, the choices you make determine the outcomes you experience. And it is in this process of determining if the choice is a selfish one that it goes back to your values. You see, values are really who you are. What you will do, what you will not do. The boundaries that you demand of the world. And so when you make these choices now to evaluate, is it a selfish choice? Is it a choice that will help your people? Is it a choice that will benefit your family? Is it a choice that will hurt somebody else? Look for solutions that balance all sides. Benefits to you, benefits to others. In this step, in this making these choices now, this is that moral compass. My uncle, you'll hear me talk about my Uncle Benny. He was a lawyer and a very interesting person. He could see negativity in everything that happened. On a sunny day, he complained about the heat. On a cold day, he complains about the cold. I mean, no matter what the situation, Uncle Benny could find an objection. And one day we're talking about moral values, and he said, you know what? He says, if somebody tells you that Benny Sneed stole $100,000, you tell them they're lying. Benny Sneed's an honest man. He said, but if somebody tells you that Benny Sneed stole 100 million, he might have done that. In other words, sometimes your values, your decisions you make in handling these situations really underline your moral fiber, who you really are inside. Step 6, picture the consequences. And this is critical, because once you extrapolate the results of your actions and create the vision of what the logical outcome of your actions, you make better decisions. When you can see the end result clearly, when David saw the end result of him losing to Goliath, it was not a pretty picture. His family, his people, his country would be enslaved. When you look at the consequences of squandering your money, of operating without a plan, of doing illegal things, what it can do to you and your family, it makes you make better choices. I really wish I could teach our young people to every decision that you make, extrapolate it, project it, and see the outcome of that decision. Every action is a seed for the next reality. So look at not just the seed, but look at the growth, the fruit from that tree. Picture the consequences. Number 7, get advice, but make the decision your own. This is profound, folks, because one of the challenges we find is dealing with people who don't know that they don't know. When a person does not know that they don't seek answers. And you can see in David's dialogue with the king, the king says, well, take my armor, do this, do that. So he sought counsel. But then David made his own decision. He said, that's your armor, your sword. I got what I got. I know what I need. I know how to use it. So discuss your situation with other people who've been there. Don't seek investment advice from a broke person. Okay. Don't seek counsel from somebody who's jealous of you. You know, many times we seek counsel from people who don't understand just because we want them to confirm our own lack of information. I used to tell my son, I said, if you're the smartest person in the group, get in a different group. Seek counsel, but in the final analysis, the decision is your own. David made his own decision for his process for conquering Goliath. Number 8, stick to your decision. Whatever choices you make about handling the situations that confront you, stick with the decision. Once you make a decision, stick to it until new facts reveal themselves. You see, the beauty of a plan is that when you follow the plan and monitor your progress, you can say, how's it doing? And then you can adjust accordingly. Someone once said, you know, to seek and you shall find, to keep knocking, keep trying, try again, but don't try and try again with the same mindset. Learn something from each trial. When Edison was seeking to discover the filament, he failed over 9,000 times, over 3,000 times, but every time he failed, he learned something new. Once you see new facts to reveal that this decision might need to be altered, do that. But don't just base your actions and the furtherance of your decision on what somebody else said. I interviewed Ricky Young the other night. Ricky Young is a talk show host in New York, and he has a radio program called What's in Your Hand. And it really is taken from a speech by Adam Clayton Powell saying what's in your hand, that really you already have everything you need to get everything you want based on the David and Goliath story. And when he told one of his friends gave him all the reasons why he should change the name of the program. He actually went to the producer and said, you know what, I want to change the name of the program. But he sought counsel. The producer said, no, that's a great name. Stick with it. And thank goodness he did. So stick to your decision. And then finally, number 9, put your decision into action immediately. Everything that we've talked about to this point in handling a situation is worthless until you take action. Until you take action now. Procrastination is the thief of dreams. Procrastination is the thief of possibilities. Procrastination is the thief of time. Procrastination is the thief of your destiny, your glory, and your purpose. So, how do we handle obstacles? Number 1, to recognize, reframe it, and call it a situation or an opportunity for growth. Number 2, recognize that there are 2 sides to it. There's the internal side that we have to work on ourselves because we always bring ourselves to the situation. And then the second is the external side, to see it for what it really is, to write it down so that you can see what it is clearly, to analyze the situation so you can understand all aspects of it, to list all alternative solutions so that you can position yourself for proper choices, to evaluate each possible solution and determine if it's a solution, if a solution is a selfish one. Who does it help? Who does it hurt? Picture the consequences. Every action is a seed. Picture the fruits of that seed, that tree. Get advice, but make the decision your own. Stick to your decision until new facts are revealed that say you must make changes. And finally, put your decision into action immediately. When you can do these things, then nothing can stop you. Then every obstacle is an opportunity for growth. That every opportunity for growth is another step towards the realization of your vision, your purpose, and your destiny. Using these principles, you can be whatever you want to be, do whatever you want to do, and have whatever you want to have, always knowing that the best is yet to come. And so it is. Those of you on Instagram, on Facebook, thank you so much for watching and listening this morning. Please like it and share it and write some comments how this message has resonated to help you overcome the situations that confront you. Be sure to get a copy of our book, The 12 Universal Laws of Success, and even our home study course to help you put the principles into action immediately. Go to our website, www.herbertharris.info. That's www.herbertharris.info, and see some of the things that we're doing that can help you be what you want to be, do what you want to do, and have whatever you want to have, always knowing that the best is yet to come. So it is.